Good afternoon. It's April 10th, 2023, and here's what we're looking at for today. Um, I would categorize this as um, an upward choppy range day. The bias is clearly up, but you can see here, I mean, it looked like the bias would be down at the beginning of the day, and you can see it just chopping on both sides of the EMA. Just for the rest of the day up until now. Right now it's only 12:16 right now, so 45 minutes till market closes. So I mean a lot could happen, but it just looks like a range day, and there's really just not a whole lot to analyze. I mean, if you play this spike in channel, which I would think is just way too aggressive, perhaps there's an entry in here, but I really don't think you want to be doing that. So we'll take a look and we'll see if there's anything else to be looking at. 5 o'clock comes in this downward bias, choppy stuff. It looks kind of like a spike and channel down. You see the overnight we had a strong sell-off. It formed this channel, and you get a break of that. Really, it's just this break of this channel and a couple legs down to a new low before it chops sideways and starts moving up. With how low the volume was in the opening, I was checking the calendar for if the day after Easter was a trading day, and obviously it is, but I couldn't believe it at first how low the volume was. So anyway, there's no entries in this channel. I think you just had to be a little patient. You get this failure right here. I mean, we have a break of this channel and a move to a new low, but I think that's very aggressive. I don't think you want to take that. Come up here, make a new high. First entry, failed second entry, long, and that looks pretty decent, but you're going into this level of support is what worries me. You can see a bounce there and a bounce there. So I'm not too crazy about that. And it kind of looks like it might be a midline. Yeah, to me, that's what that looks like. So I'm not crazy about it, but when you get this second entry off this trend line, confirming that trend line, I think you have to take that with the bias being so strongly down. But it doesn't go very far, and we go higher, and you could have had this trend line pretty early. You do get a failure right here, but we just made a new high, a new swing high. So, and these are all dojis, so I'm not crazy about that, even though you would probably expect a second leg down. I mean, it's tempting. And then we bounce, and you get a higher low right here. By now, you should have this channel, or at least potential. Unfortunately, it doesn't touch on the low side, so you're still a little skeptical, but it looks pretty accurate. And you get a second entry short off these highs, so I mean, maybe you consider that. And by the time you get a lower high, it's too close to the EMA. I think there's probably 9, so yeah, 4 ticks back to the EMA. So I mean, that looks like a good setup, but the bias is up. So you can see that doesn't work out. This one, maybe you take this. So you have a break of this move up and a move to a new high. And there's a lot of room back to the EMA. I'm about to take that off. I don't think you want to take that. That's really just the first entry. And you get this first entry, failed second entry long. Does this get you? Well, yeah, you would have gotten in there 8. So that gets you 8 ticks before reversing. So you got to be super careful with this stuff. Um, going for 2 points. The ATR at that point was like 2.2 or something like that. So you gotta be careful. It bounces and goes higher, and we get this overshoot. So when you get the overshoot, maybe you take this lower high, and that's what a lot of people were probably thinking is we got to overshoot. This isn't a strong move up, so they probably just figured let's risk it. There's room back to the midline, and you get the break, and it reverses very strongly. No way to get in on this. I mean, perhaps you take this high or low, but I mean, we haven't had a break and move to a new low of this channel. It just reverses, and then you get this spike in channel. And I don't think you want to take anything in here. Technically, this is a second entry, but the signal bar is trash. This kind of looks like a two-legged pullback, but you're just testing the previous level of resistance. This looks like a failure, and it's also a second entry long. So I marked this blue, but you're going into the highs. So is it blue? Is it green? I don't know. It looks okay. And here you get a first entry, second entry long. If this was a high or low, I would mark this green or blue because I like that, but it's not. So, and now you have a second entry long with the bar as an inside bar. So we just really didn't get much of anything today. And you got to get good at spotting that. You got to get good at spotting this flip-flop, not a strong trend, and maybe you just sit out. That's what I should have done today. I should have sat out when it's flipped. If this trend isn't strong in one direction and prices are flip-flopping on both sides of the EMA, I probably should have just sat out, but oh well. So I'll be back tomorrow.